Over the past year, Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School students, teachers, and parents have continued to try and come to grips with the immense tragedy of last year's February 14th shooting. Now the Parkland community is in mourning yet again after the deaths of two young people by suicide within a week of each other. 19-year-old Sydney Aiello and 16-year-old Calvin Desir. Sydney graduated last year after surviving the shooting, but her family says she is a close friend of victim Meadow Pollock and suffered from survivor's guilt and was recently diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Calvin also survived the February 14th shooting, but at this time, what led him to take his own life is still unknown. The 211 Broward helpline has reported a 24% increase in suicide-related calls since last year, and 188 calls related directly to the Parkland shooting. Joining me now to talk about the impact of survivor's guilt, local mental health resources available to the community, is Janine Ribeiro Chow-Quan, licensed mental health counselor and Senior Director of Health and Behavioral Initiatives with the United Way of Broward County. Also with us today, Billie Morgan, manager of the Special Needs and Behavioral Health Program at 211 Broward. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
It's sad that we have to talk about this, but this is a reality, right, Janine? That we see people a year, many years after a tragedy such as this, still suffering and still at risk for suicide. So talk about this.
You know, when a tragedy like this happens in a community, it has a ripple effect, and it's going to affect us as residents for years to come. There is no set time limit on someone's grief or someone's trauma. So it's something that we will be dealing with, unfortunately.
Now, we know that there have been a lot of mental health counselors and people who have gone into the school and community support. I think for a lot of folks, this was a shock. This was a shock that these young people took their lives. Is it some sort of a wake-up call that there's still so much work that needs to be done? What do you think?
I think I would hate to call it a wake-up call. I think it's something that we just haven't thought about, you know, and it is something that we as a community need to always keep in mind, that we need to talk to our loved ones. We need to make sure that they are getting the help that they need.
Yeah. Billie, you work for 211. We've had you on before and talked about the great services provided by that organization. Talk to us specifically about the suicide prevention hotline and what you're hearing. And we did report there's been this uptick.
That's correct. There has been an increase in calls, but it can be discouraging for some to see that, but for us it's encouraging that people are connecting and reaching out and saying it's okay to not be okay. Let's make a call. Let's connect in some way to some professionals that can give you resources and support or just a listening ear. So it is alarming to see that increase, but it's also encouraging to know that it's okay and it's good that we're reaching out and our community is seeking help and the resources that 211 can provide.
So let's talk about those kinds of questions. So when somebody calls in, there's certain protocol, it's called the Columbia Protocol that you follow. Talk about that, because there's been a lot of research done in suicides and what kinds of questions really kind of get to the heart of the matter, correct?
That's correct.
And I think we have them up so people can see what they are.
What the Columbia Protocol is what our community has adopted, and it's a way to really cut through some of that that hesitation to ask about suicide. Let's not worry about what might happen when we ask somebody about suicide, because it's important that we ask. So some of the questions that you see here is, have you wished you were dead or wished you would go to sleep and not wake up? You know, we're not saying suicide here, but it's okay to say, are you thinking about suicide? And have you had any thoughts about it, and how you might do it are important questions to ask, and that is a very challenging thing to ask. And we're not asking you to be suicide intervention professionals here, but what's important is that you have that number of 211 to say, what can I say? What can I do? Or maybe make a call together with that person you're trying to support who may be at risk. So it's kind of starting the conversation. And how do you start that conversation is what this is about.
There was something that both of you had pointed out that was really important, is that don't be afraid to ask somebody point blank, have you thought about taking your own life? because if you've never had that thought, you're not planting a seed in there that's going to create a problem, correct?
Correct.
So talk about that, Janine. We really need to kind of be blunt.
Yeah, I think we need to be direct and be blunt with people and ask them, are you thinking about dying? Are you thinking about not being here? You know, questions like, do you think that you're a burden? You know, those are some of the questions that I think are very direct with people. And when you ask them, it helps them to say, you know, no, I'm not, or yes, I am. I do feel that way. Yeah. You know, and then you seek services together. You know, either you talk about it, it opens the dialogue. And I think the more we talk, the more, you know, information gets out and people will seek services.
Talk about Eagles Haven. This is something specifically for the MSD community that you helped to create.
Yes, so Eagles Haven is a wellness center that opened up in Coral Springs. We had a soft opening last Monday. It is something where, you know, anybody from the community, so this isn't just the students of MSD or the faculty, this is the grandmas, this is the aunts, the uncles, this is students from other schools who are affected, you know, who can walk in or they can call and they can get services in our community. So it's really and truly a drop-in center. So the center will have licensed mental health clinicians, but they will also have groups going on. You know, they'll have yoga, they'll have open mic, they'll have poetry. So they'll have so many different things going on, you know, because this affects so many different people in different ways.
I like how you're saying too, it's not just about kind of therapy. You don't walk in and sit down with a counselor right away. It's a safe space to talk or to get involved in some sort of an activity, maybe to take your mind off of things, right?
Right, exactly.
Billie, talk about, there's this teen space that you guys have at 211, right? Or safe space. Talk a little bit more about that.
We do have
Teen Space 211,
yes,
there it is.
That's the one. Yeah, we do have a website here with that link at the top where you can find a condensed list of resources to connect, such as Eagles Haven and all the other resources that are out there. What's great about what we do at 211 is this is a place that youth can actually tap into. It's youth focused. They can call us and they can also chat with us at any time at the top of that link. So it's just a nice way to be able to connect youth and any resources they need. But this is for everyone. 211 is everybody's helpline. Yeah. It's for our seniors, our students, all walks of life and all needs beyond suicide. If somebody just needs to listen or just needs support for any resource in our community, just remember that number as well.
Right, and I think it's important again to reiterate that this is an ongoing process, this recovery process after tragedy. You may not even know that you're affected by it until many years out. And I think what's also, we're talking about these two students from MSD who took their lives. I think what was also shocking is 49-year-old Sandy Hook dad, Jeremy Richmond, recently took his life too. Yeah. And he's 7 years out from the tragedy. He lost his little girl. And I know he had been doing a lot of work toward recovery and towards helping people, but obviously, and speak to that, this was still really difficult for him. He was dealing with this every day, right, Janine?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, grief is something, there's no time limit on it. Yeah. You know, when you lose a loved one, it hurts no matter how long it is. And I think it's really and truly understanding that something like this will affect us, our entire community, for a very long time.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that our caregivers also need to know when they need support. Our caregivers need to know that if they're struggling or need help, that this number, and there are connections out there. We'd mentioned about Eagles Haven and how there are different outlets and different ways to connect. And isolation is a danger for people who are at risk of suicide, and so making sure that that person has a connection in life, a group, a social network will really help protect that person and keep them safe.
Absolutely.
That's such a good point. It sounds as if we all need each other. We all heal in community, right?
Yes.
Before we go, quickly, how do we get the word out to people that there are these resources? Is it through just obviously what we're doing right now, but do you go into the schools, do you go into community centers and let people know, hey, we're here, 211 is here? How do we let people know?
Yeah, absolutely. The staff at the Eagles Haven will be going out into the community. They'll actually be inviting people in. They'll be going out to schools. They'll be doing different community events throughout Broward. The Children's Service Council and United Way of Broward County will also be putting the messaging out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have so many other resources with Broward Schools and all of our other partners in our community. It's wonderful that we have a network of mental health support in our community, and tap into it, reach out to us.
Ladies, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And remember, if you or someone you know is in crisis, or you just need to talk to someone, you can always dial 211 in Miami-Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach counties to be connected to a trained operator. You can also reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline by calling 1-800-273-8255. We'll have more information on all of the resources that we talked about today on our Facebook page at Your South FL.